Okay, so some trucking tips to help make a driver's life easier, and Luigi can weigh in on some of these, I'm sure. So be flexible when possible. If it's always a little bit nicer for a driver to have a first come first serve facility versus a firm appointment. I understand that there's times when certain facilities need to go by appointments to keep everything kind of moving in a timely fashion to avoid everybody from showing up at one time. But if a driver arrives early, it's nice if he can be worked in, even if it's on an appointment schedule. Having flexibility with the loading and delivery windows, it kind of hits on that. If somebody arrives early and you have the time, it's nice to get them undone and on the road, since they are working with a limited clock each day on their logbooks. Flexibility in transit time is nice, especially when you're working with those spot loads, and if capacity is tight in an area, if we have a day or two to get it scheduled or picked up, it just makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, Tony, if I can add to your point here. Yeah, I was talking just a few days ago, I was talking to a friend. He also owns an intermodal drayage trucking company. And, you know, we are talking about, you know, to us, to a trucking company, the freight forwarder, of course, is very important. But we also now taking into account warehouses, because the same warehouse can ship through multiple freight forwarding companies or through a steamship line. So there are, you know, there's been talks where the trucking industry even wants to create an app similar to Yelp, where warehouses are rated based on how easy for a driver is to go in and out. Are they flexible? Is the warehouse flexible if the driver is late due to a delay at the railroad because there were no chassis available and now the driver had to wait? So regardless of who the freight forwarder is or the steamship line involved, warehouses are also now being taken into consideration by a truck driver, because truck drivers all talk to each other and they kind of know whether a warehouse is easy, friendly to go unload and come back, as opposed they're very rigid. And you know, if the driver is late like 20 minutes, now he has to wait 4 hours because he missed this slot. So it's good to kind of have an understanding on this type of delays, and the flexibility that you and Kim put on the slide makes a lot of sense.
Yes, thank you. Yes, being in the industry as long as I have, I've definitely ran into those facilities, grocery store warehouses, and in other locations that are really restrictive on their receiving hours. And like Luigi was saying, drivers do talk, they do know which facilities are, you know, driver friendly and not. So
you're telling me it's harder to find a driver to go to those facilities without drivers?
Yes. So in short, if you're delivering to a certain facility, it may be harder to get a driver to go there.
And then again, sorry, Tony. Then again, it all depends also on if the market is soft, there is not much freight around, so drivers are now looking for work, because it's not always driver shortage. There are times where slow times, there's not enough cargo coming in to deliver. So, you know, but what to believe, Tony, you experience the same. Normally, it's more often harder to find a driver than a driver is calling you to asking for work. So.
Yes, very true. Okay, we kind of hit on the 3 differences. If you have any questions on which may be the best type, feel free to reach out and ask us. We'll be happy to walk through it and give you the different options, which would be the best, whether it be LTL, full truckload, or volume.
Now, if our clients do give you number of pieces, but they don't tell you exactly what type of shipment they want, do you just take that into consideration and give them a quote based on what you consider.
Right. So if someone just came to me and said, these 3 pallets and then to be moved from point A to point B, I'm probably going to start out and just give you an LTL rate. If it's a little bit larger, I may give you both an LTL and a volume. But generally speaking, when we hear how many pallets and weights it is, we generally know what it needs to be. So again, if you're unsure, just ask us and we'll be happy to help you out. Okay, the routing. So if you're going to have a shipment that may be exiting, let us know. We can get you in touch with someone over here on our international side, and they can help you with any routing options that you would need.
So if you're having any pains with your trucking, you can easily talk to somebody on Scarborough International's team or your international freight forwarder about maybe consider routing that differently internationally, so it's coming into a different port. You can talk to people about that.
Other tips, sharing it. So information is the key when we're doing quotes. The more information that we have, the better, and the more accurate the quote will be. So when you're giving us the information, again, the more the information you have, the better, so that we can get you that accurate quote as quickly as possible. Lead time when it comes to the shipment is nice. The more time we have to plan, the better. Sometimes that will lead to more competitive rates or lower rates if we have some time to plan versus reacting at the last minute. We all know those situations happen. We understand that. But sometimes when you can plan ahead, that does help with cost a little bit. On the be understanding, be empathetic and understanding to all those involved in your supply chain. There are a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes. It's kind of our job to handle all that and kind of protect you or buffer you from it. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that you're not always aware of. So just yeah, a little empathetic towards those handling your shipments, whether it be domestically or internationally, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes sometimes.
Luigi, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, what I want to add is correct. I mean, Tony, you made a good point about being understanding, because intermodal drayage and truck drivers and the stress involved at the railroad or at the port to pick up a load. There is a lot going on. So like myself, if I were an importer, I would book the entire intermodal with the freight forwarder directly through the door. I wouldn't really be trying myself to look for a trucking company, because a trucking company, because of the complexity you just explained that happens behind the scenes, a trucking company wants to work with a freight forwarder like Scarborough. You guys have good volume. You guys are you have been doing this for a long time. You know everything involved, and it's much easier for a trucking company to have a relationship with a business like you guys, like Scarborough. That you guys, you do this on a regular basis, as opposed to dealing with an importer. It would take much more time for a trucking company to receive instructions. There is a lot of communications that has to happen back and forth between the freight forwarder and the trucking company, like delivery order, work order, rates, pickup numbers, last 3 days, the marriage last 3 days, and it's much easier when the parties involved do this on a regular basis. And that's why a freight forwarder, to me, is the best way to book a shipment directly to the door.